I would like to invite the incredible filmmakers that have made these films and are with us here today. So I will start with Grace Fisher, who's the director of Critter Fable, as well as the subject of Amazing Grace. If any of you had the honor of seeing it, just waiting. I'm gonna pause for a second. Thank you, Grace. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Grace, for being with us. Grace is also the subject of Amazing Grace, if you've had the pleasure of being here last night for that screening. I would like to invite the team behind Nick Lightning, Frank Petka, Pat Taggart, and Nick Fergus / Lightning himself. Please come join us. And I believe I'll get you one right away.
I don't need it. He'll just pass it.
Okay, sounds good. And we are waiting for one more person. Colin, do we have? Okay, we have Cameron Carr, the creator of Wawel Dragon and Lockdown Tale, joining us virtually from the UK. For the conversation today, hi Cameron, thank you for being with us. To lead the conversation today, I would like to invite our own program associate, as well as disability advocate, consultant, partner for Museum Access Consortium and Marvels of Media, Miranda Lee.
Thank you. I feel that today has been it's very exciting for me. I myself, I'm an autistic person, so it was just very exciting that all these films compiled together have featured autistic characters, are centered around autistic people, have the involvement of autistic creators. And what's especially incredible for me is that this falls into, this month is Autism Acceptance Month. And yeah, it just happens to fall in as just like such this great celebration. So I do have some questions that I want to ask everyone who has, thank you so much for coming today, who's been able to come today. I have some questions, and I'm also afterwards going to open the floor to the audience, like everyone who's attending right now in person, everyone who's tuning in virtually. And, I invite you to think about just like these films in relation to Autism Acceptance Month, and also just about like the filmmaking process, or just anything that you want to ask the filmmakers about, like their journeys in general. So I have a list of questions written down to do. So the first question that I want to ask was just, as a general question, was what has inspired you to make this film? And I would like to start with the team of Nick Lightning for that question.
So thank you for the question. So we've just finished a documentary and we were looking for something else. And one of the most frustrating things for a filmmaker is when you have the desire to tell a story and you can't find a subject matter that you're really passionate about, because I don't think that you can do your best work if you're not telling a story that you're passionate about. So Frank and I huddled up and we said, well, what's the most interesting story that we've heard, or who's the most interesting person that we know? And he was literally right under our nose. So sometimes you don't have to look that far. And I think that as filmmakers, if we want to do a doc, we want to do a doc on someone, you think, okay, well, who's famous enough where there's a built-in audience? But we wouldn't have been passionate telling a story about someone we didn't know. We were passionate about telling Nick's story because every time you're around Nick, and I hope you all have a chance to say hello every time I've ever spoken to him, and we speak to him a lot, you leave feeling better about life than you did when you started. And so I think we went into it for the right reasons, which is we wanted other people to see what we've had the pleasure of seeing in him all these years.
Yeah, I definitely, like, I was able to have the fortune, I think, Nick, I ran into a few times. There's a filmmakers brunch this morning. And you definitely carry this just like great energy with you. And I agree, this great passion that just shows like both in the film and in person. And next, I want to ask Grace Fisher. You created this film, Critter Fable. Worked with children at Santa Barbara on this film. And I just want to ask, like, how this, collaboration came about for this filmmaking process.
Yeah, so you saw at the end that each of the characters were created by kids with disabilities in my community. And I run a foundation, and at our foundation, we put on adaptive programs for kids with disabilities. And so that's kind of how that, there's a couple collaborations that took place. So that was one. And then I contacted a freelance animator just online. And he was kind of able to put my ideas into motion. So that was another one. And then I created the music and artwork for that. So yeah, collaborations of many sorts for my project.
Yeah, and there's actually a question about collaboration that I'm curious to ask you later once we before I just want to ask Cameron Carr about your inspiration, but yeah, I just want to let you know that I'm curious to continue off of that. So Cameron, what inspired the creation of your short film, Wawel Dragon?
A lot of reasons, but I suppose during lockdown, I had a lot of time to think, and I thought about all the time that I would go abroad. I'm half Polish, and so often my family and I would go to Poland and other places in Europe, but predominantly Poland because my family's Polish, and I did really miss it a lot. And I remember even visiting the where the story originated and took place. It's a folktale. It took place in Wawel Castle, and I guess it was a sort of yearning for folktale and for going outside, and I wanted to capture being outside, even though it's a set and it's a stop motion set, and I wanted to capture the sense of adventure and I suppose the simpler times.
Yeah, and I guess especially kind of ironic. I mean, like, I believe that you probably came up with this concept before the pandemic had happened. So I imagine that there's kind of a bit of irony to wanting to replicate that type of experience, like that sort of outdoors adventure-like experience as well.
Yeah, I suppose so. The thing is that when I was doing my previous film, Strange, which is the 2D animated film, it's an autobiographical piece about myself, and most importantly, it's about friendship and how important that is for me at my time at uni. Lockdown kind of happened at, let's say, near the end of production and just at the beginning of post-production for Strange. So whilst I was animating, basically, recorded the lines and did the script, and started animating, and then pandemic happened, so I had to do the animation at home. I guess I decided to do this next project knowing that the studios would be shut down, and I decided to basically do one of my first adaptations. I never done an adaptation before, and typically you're encouraged to come up with something original, which I don't have a problem with, but I wanted to do an adaptation because it was something new and fresh. And also this story was important to me, and I felt there was a lot of value to it in many layers. And one of them was to satisfy a need, for example, of I guess you could say like transporting back to a place that I enjoy, such as being in Poland, even though it's in a different time period, obviously, and it's a little bit fantastical. But yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. And Grace, just to return to like this question I had about collaboration, something that I noticed about the film is that there's this very orchestral quality to it. And you talked about like collaborating with an animator in the project. So I was wondering, like sort of how you had these conversations about like, you know, ideas of like how the art led the music or how the music led the art. I was just curious about how you were able to like blend those two elements together while you're creating this piece.
Yeah, so I kind of had the idea for the storyline and the way I wanted it laid out before it was even created. And I think it definitely helped that I did the music and the artwork because I was kind of able to dictate the narrative before it was even created. And it just took a lot of communication between me and the animator and these various different people to make sure that it turned out kind of the way that I was expecting and wanting it to turn out.
Yeah, thank you. And Cameron, I remember you mentioned Strange before. I remember that was screened at our festival last year, and I noticed that there was that difference in style, where, you know, you, as you mentioned, like Strange is more of this 2D piece, and this film that we showed today, Wawel Dragon, is like more stop motion. And I was curious about how that idea for that animation style came about.
Well, the short answer is that Polish entertainment is rooted in puppetry. That's kind of how they told stories. It's part of their tradition, including other places like around that area, like Czech Republic. And I suppose I wanted to choose the medium that echoed that sense of, you know, retelling a story or, you know, passing a story along. And I also felt that, you know, Wawel Dragon is quite an obscure tale. You know, everyone knows what Snow White is, everyone knows what, you know, Little Red Riding Hood is and Cinderella, but no one quite, you know, no one quite knows Wawel Dragon. So I kind of wanted to do it in traditional way possible, but still using animation. And so that's one of the major reasons why I chose stop motion for this piece.
Yeah, that's really neat that it's kind of like an echo to, I guess, to that, like, I guess, to the culture and that traditional form of storytelling. And then Nick, just as a question for you, I know you open up a lot about like your history with, you know, struggling growing up, and a lot the documentary. There's a lot of discussion about like finding joy through gratitude, and I also know that you mentioned Bon Jovi as one of your main inspirations. And I want to just ask you, like, how is it that, you know, that you find all this passion to, you know, put on this Nick Lightning persona, and, you know, what is it that you think about that has like kept you moving forward and, like, you know, going forward at like both as Nick Fergus and as Nick Lightning?
Well, that's a very tough question. Like I say in the movie to my friend, it's not. It's not really. Really, when I started this 29 years ago, this June will be 29. It's just an idea. Like they say, everybody has a dream. Everybody has a passion. When I was growing up, I got bullied. Really, bullied. I bullied so bad every day. Kids. One time, a kid put a rock on top of my head and tied me to a post in my neighborhood. So if I move, my head's gonna be cracked in. So that's how mean people were to me. So, but when Nick Lightning came into my life, because my family's a bunch of my family are musicians. My uncle's is a composer, my cousin's a bass player, and all that. So watching them over the years, and me just loving music in general, growing up in the '80s, because '80s, no offense, '80s has the greatest music in the world. And that what brought me joy to do these shows. And I remember, like it says in my movie, my first tour in '94, how nervous I was. That was true. Because I never done any of this thing like this. I was just a normal kid on a street corner in Roxborough, my hometown, playing in front of my friends with a cheap pair of headphones, cheap tape deck, $2 Bon Jovi tape, and a Dorito pack that you get on them Dorito bags. But what you were saying is that that's what made me want to do it. So just life in general has brought me to this point, and I want to thank these guys, my dearest friends in the world. These my main man pots and pans right here for bringing it out to the world. Sure. So thank you for having us again, and that's the origin of where I came from.
Yeah, and just thank you for your presence and also like your joy. So these were all the questions I had for you, and now I just want to open it up to the audience. If you're coming in virtually, you can send your questions in the chat, and we can respond to those. So is there anyone who has a question for our special guest today?
Hi, everyone. I'm hi, I'm Sean with an X, or Shion, and I'm on the selection committee. So I feel like I've been big fans of yours before anyone knew that it was part of ReelAbilities. So I'm really fangirling right now. But when I think about something else you all have in common besides autism or being filmmakers, is that I feel like each of you has found your passion, has found things that you creatively can put out in the world, and you're making your difference already. My question is for, I run workshops on self-esteem, and a lot of my students are still looking for that passion, still looking for their why, and so I guess my question to you would be, what would be your advice for someone who's still trying to figure it out?
Well, it's simple. I just tell people, because I talked to a lot of kids already. I just tell them, listen, it's going to be not easy to come to grips with stuff. And like I said, I had a lot of stuff to come to grips with, but I tell them, just be yourself. Be the beautiful person you are. Just be the one that you want to be. Don't let no one tell what you want to be or what you got to be. Just live your life as you want, as I tell them, actually. And I had a lot of kids in the neighborhood who I know came at me and thanked me many times for it. Because really quick, there was this one kid, I forget his name, in my neighborhood getting bullied, and he saw my show. He was one of the young kids at the rec center's daycare center. He comes up to me, he's nervous, he's shaking, and he's worried. Like I'm like a big rock star kind of, and I'm really not. So I say, so he says to me, Mr. Lightning, how do you do all this? I said, well, I just be myself. Like it's in the movie, I just be my normal self. Like everything you heard in that movie, I say in that movie, it's totally me, no scripted. So basically, answer your question in entire, it's just be yourself. That's all you gotta be. There's nothing else to it. Welcome.
It's really helped me to like look outside of myself too, because I think we all struggle with something, whether that's like a physical disability like me or mental illness or something like that. We all struggle with something, and so it's really helped me to put my energy into the kids that I work with, and to look outside of myself. And I think also what Nick said too, just about being being your true self and not really caring what people think about you too is something that I think we all should embrace, because we're all unique individuals, and I think that we all just should be ourselves.
Honestly, the advice from them is great. All I can say is, without repeating what they said, is and it's tricky because every individual is different. So I am going to be quite general with it. But what has helped me with a lot of my projects is to have fun and not worry too much. And what I mean by that, I suppose, is in terms of creativity, it's just about letting go, just make whatever. Because I've seen a lot of artists, autistic or not, I've seen a lot of artists, they tend to get hung up on a lot of details, and they often don't make as much as they could. And so it's just about making things and having fun. Don't take it too seriously, and you can always like edit it, refine it later on. It's all good. In fact, currently I'm studying at the National Film and Television School for directing animation, and one of the first things that we were taught is to have fun and not take things too seriously all the time, and to not do because it can be a bit loaded when you have to create. I think it should just be as natural as laughing, I think, or breathing, and not to be taken too seriously.
This is more an observation than a question, so apologies. I'm Julie. I'm on the selection committee also. and and when we watch your movies, we watch them on a small screen. This is kind of a shout out to the people who are watching virtually. Seeing these movies on a huge screen with other people and hearing them laugh, I'm a big fan of stopgap animation, and Grace, I've seen Critter Fables. I've watched it several times, but seeing it that big, it made me cry. So folks, don't watch virtually, come here.
We have time for one last question. No? Okay.
There's
one more?
their hand up in the front.
Just wait 1 second so we can get this in the sound and everyone can hear you.
Has Bon Jovi seen the movie yet?
That's the funny part. Yes, he has, because we could not do it without his permission. And my friends here somehow did without me knowing. Yes, he is actually. Can I say this to be truthful, or I think I'm gonna get in trouble?
I don't know what
Since
you're gonna
when do you
say,
ask
just
for
go.
permission for
Well,
anything?
shoot.
Do it.
Well, actually, my friend Frankie right here is in constant contact with his manager, tour manager. And he actually texts him and says, "Send me some videos of Nick this weekend because we really love him. I think he's really super cool. I'm going to share the pictures with John Bon Jovi, because right now, if you're not buying it, he's on tour right now, doing the 2020 tour for 15 days.
So we were able to get the film in front of Bon Jovi and his people, and we did ask permission before we cut the final cut.
He loved it.
After they watched it, his manager texted me and said, "John wants a Nick Lightning shirt. How can he get one?"
Yep, that's true.
We only had one Nick Lightning shirt that he had made in Hawaii like 10 years ago. So then we had to
No. It was like think 13
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry, 13. So we had to just get shirts. We got like 50 shirts made just for Bon Jovi and his manager. We sent him the shirts. He sent Nick a personal signed guitar, brand new guitar. And he sent us a picture of himself wearing the shirt, which we just didn't get to add to the film because that happened after, but really cool, really amazing guy.
Yeah, people say never meet your heroes, and this was the complete opposite of that. He turned out to be more than we could have ever hoped. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we tried.
Question of where we can get shirts.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, this Kingdom Hearts Franks, go ahead.
That was a foul. We should have just brought the shirts and just gave them out. We
Yeah,
didn't even think
totally
of it.
great. Totally
They're
Giving
great.
fitting
Nick
in
one of
his-
those shirt cannons and just let
Yeah,
him-
just yeah.
Not a good idea with me doing that with these glasses. I can't see through them. So that's a bad idea.
We can get some shirt. I'll email you. We can get you guys some shirts and whatever we have. We probably have like 20 shirts left or something.
Do you
So
hear that? If you're interested in the shirt, email ReelAbilities. We'll connect
Yeah,
you. We'll
we-
hook you up.
yes, for sure.
Thank
And-
you so much.
I think I have a final question.
I'm sorry, we're running out of time. One last question. Here we go. No. Wait a second. We need the microphone so everyone can hear you.
My question is to Grace Fisher. I'd like to know if you composed the music and if you could tell us a little bit about your foundation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I did compose music, so I'm studying at UCSB right now for music composition. So I'm learning a lot and really enjoying. And so yes, I compose the music. And what was the second part of that? Right. So in Santa Barbara, we run adaptive art programs for kids with disabilities. So that ranges from adaptive art workshops to adaptive dance and drum circle. And we also have a social program too. And so I'm pretty busy in school right now, but I definitely have more plans and stuff for that. And I think it's really important too that there's not programs specifically for kids with disabilities, but that people with disabilities are included in all programs, not just exclusively for children that have a certain need. So
Thank you so much to all of you for being here with us. It was really incredible to have you here. Thank you for sharing your films. I'm sure we'll continue hearing much about your journeys moving forward. And thank you so much, Miranda, for moderating the wonderful conversation. Please stay with us if you'd like afterwards. We're screening the film Poppy at 2 o'clock. And later today, we have another compilation of shorts, deaf shorts, along with the film Only I Can Hear, and the really remarkable film, The Other Tom, in the evening. So stay with us throughout the day. We also have the ReelAbilities Accessibility Summit taking place throughout the week, and our closing night is on Wednesday. If you can be with us for the entire time, then you'll get to see us at the end over there with some surprises. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.